Hey guys, Vass here from Aussie Playground and welcome to another unboxing. Now before we get started into this, there's a couple of things I want to point out. Number one, I think I'm going to be doing my unboxings this way from now on. It's a little bit more casual and I think it's a little bit more fun. It allows me to be a bit more animated with my hand movements. You know, I can sort of display things for you and get up close, which is great. And I also want to point out something that I don't normally do on my channel. I'm going to do it this one time. I'm going to give a special thank you to another YouTuber, Jeremy Kid 99, who has, not for the first time, brought to my attention new products that have been released. Now, I did know that this was being released by Hobby King, but they announced this thing something like, I don't know, when Caesar ruled. They announced it ages ago, and I didn't know that they had actually brought it out. Jeremy actually brought it to my attention, and thankfully I had the money to buy it, so I did, and here it is. It came in the mail today, and we're going to be unboxing the Nitro Circus monster truck from Hobby King. It's called the Basher. It's a 1/8 scale monster truck. It's got an aluminium chassis. It's four-wheel drive. It looks really fun, but it is Hobby King, so we don't know exactly what sort of durability this thing's going to have or how quick it's going to be. But for the price, I bought, there's two versions. You can get them ready to run, which basically means it comes with a remote. You don't get chargers or batteries, so you will need to get those separately. Or you can get almost ready to run, which is what I got, no remote, okay? Because I've got remotes lying around everywhere, and I've got a model memory remote as well, so I don't really need another remote. Plus the remote it comes with looks really tacky. I really didn't like it. So before we get cracking, I'm going to show you this very quickly. Have a look at that. There's a little hole and a screw poking out of the box. Hello. Looks like it's already, you know, eager to get out there and bash. Now this did come inside another cardboard box, so it did come protected. I'm not worried about it being damaged or anything. My guess is that the wheels aren't on the truck, so that's why, you know, that could be like the A-arm sort of pressing down on the bottom of the box, but we'll see. Now I'm not going to waste too much time opening this up. I'm just going to take it out and show you, so we'll cut forward and I'll be back in a sec. Alright, as suspected, you know, the wheels do have to be put on. You can see the wheels just there, and that's the truck. There's no stickers on it. You are going to need to put stickers on this guy, so I'll take the rest of it out and we'll fast forward again. Alright, so now we've got everything out of the box. I'm going to show you very quickly what it comes with, and you know what, I'm actually quite impressed. First of all, they give you one of those. This is obviously to you know, screw your wheels in, 70mm hex little thing. This is going to be really, sorry, I don't mean to do that. That looked kind of rude. This is actually going to be really cool because I've been using one of those Thunder Tiger ones, Team Associated ones, where you have to sort of plug the extension in. That's what she said. And this will be really cool to have in a toolbox. It doesn't take up a lot of room, and it's very handy to use. So very impressed with the Hobby King for supplying that. Now the other thing I didn't know this came with, and you know, that's just typical me. I see something new, I just buy it. I look at the specs roughly and I go, yeah, that's what I want. I want to try that out. It comes with an LED kit. I didn't know it came with an LED kit. It's probably in the product description in Hobby King, but I just didn't even think about LED kit. You do have to stick the little, what do you call that? The little charger thing on the bonnet. And you've got the plugs in there for the ESC and everything else. Now the ESC is only 80 amp, which means that this guy is only capable of 4S LiPo. That may be okay or not so okay for some people, but you know, if you're on a bit of a budget and you don't have the money to spend on an MT4 or a big expensive Savage or E-Revo, you know, this could be a good alternative. And this thing is what, $279 plus shipping? You know, $299 if you want the ready-to-run version. That's pretty cheap. So here we've got our manual. Nothing too exciting about this guy. And of course we have the sticker kit. They don't give you any spare parts, and other than the little hex wrench, there's no other tools of any sort. So you are going to need to get some of those if you're a first timer and you don't have any of that sort of equipment. Now, before I put these on, I'm going to cut again and I'm going to put these on, and then we'll have a bit of a closer look at the truck. I want to show you something. This is my rival. Everybody knows the rival. Everybody knows that I have one. have a look at the size of these, right? These are the same wheels and tyres that you'll find on the MT4. These are the wheels and tyres that they give us. I'll give you guys a bit of a closer look. All right, look pretty good, don't they? I don't know about the tread. I don't know how much grip this is going to give. They feel really hard. They do have foam inserts, and they've got quite a high wall. So it's really standing, you know, sort of keeping with the character of monster truck. Certainly has a higher wall on the outside than it does on the inside. You can see the difference there. It's almost like short course style. But the reason why I showed you the rival is because I want to show you that. These are actually bigger than the rival tyres. Not by a lot, but they are a little bit. They're actually a bit taller as well. I know that you probably can't really tell, but I had, you know, when you look at them, these are actually bigger. They probably don't weigh as much. I'm sorry. They probably don't weigh as much, but they are quite big. So I'm going to go ahead and take the body off, put the wheels on, show you what it all looks like put together, and then we'll come back. All right, so we got it all set up. Have a look. There it is there with the wheels and tyres all mounted on. Great big looking truck, actually quite heavy, a lot heavier than I expected it to be. You can see there the rear bumper and front bumper are actually quite beefed up. A bit of room there as well to pop some extra LEDs if you want to do that, although I wouldn't put it in the bumpers, but you can. Pretty nice looking truck, I think overall. It's actually, you know, it has a very high stance. It definitely gives it a big presence. But we'll get to the stance of it in just a minute, because I have found a little bit of a flaw. So I'm going to take the body off and I'm going to show you something interesting about the body. Check this out. Real flimsy, real flimsy. I don't know how this is going to hold up. My guess is it's probably not going to hold up very well, which is a bit disappointing. I mean, I guess, you know, from Hobby King, you probably are going to sort of expect that sort of thing, but you know, it would have been nice if even if they charged us an extra 10 or 20 bucks for the truck, you know, give me something decent here. I mean, this is pretty disappointing. However, there is one cool thing. This back sort of roll cage they got going on here comes off. See there? It just has body pins mounted onto it. So you can take this off and actually reuse it. What I'm thinking is I'm going to try and find a different body for this truck. I may even get two. One as a basher body that doesn't have the LEDs on it. The other one with the roll cage with the LEDs mounted on. What do you think? Or maybe I'll just get the one and mount the LEDs on this guy and not use this for bashing. I don't know. Haven't decided what I'm going to do yet, but that's on the cards. So let's get on to the main event, and I'll give you guys a bit of a closer look at the truck. Check that out. It's got Nitro Circus printed on the chassis. Pretty cool, huh? Really nice. You got all the wiring and all the cables just there. Run you through some of the features that it has. We've got, I think there's like 4mm thick aluminium shock towers. You got aluminium threaded bodies on the shocks, and these are all aluminium as well. I believe these are a 16mm diameter, so pretty well equipped for what you pay compared to trucks like this guy, who came with 8 flimsy little plastic shocks. This one at least looks a lot better. So as far as value for money goes, this one here is so far looking very, very good. Now, I'm not expecting these shock towers to be super duper strong, but they do look pretty tough. So I'll give them props. I'll give Hobby King props for at least giving us something that looks real beefy, real strong. The battery tray, as I'll show you this here. The battery tray, you can see here you've got 2 batteries that run side by side, and you have plenty of adjustment on the height. So you've got adjustment, yeah, stuck. Got adjustment here on the height of it. So you can actually put quite tall batteries in here if you want to do that. The only downside is, and this is something that I'm expecting given the design of these battery trays, and it was the same thing that happened with the Turnigy Trooper, is that the trays are actually maxed out in their size, and the size that they are is pretty much a standard size lipo pack, so like a raw approved hard case lipo pack. That'll be about the biggest as far as length by width that you're able to fit in those trays. You got plenty of room for height, but it's just the length by width that you really need to be careful of. So just make sure you check the Hobby King website or measure the trays themselves before you go out and buy a whole bunch of batteries that aren't going to fit in your truck. Your motor is a 2075 kV brushless motor. This is a sensorless motor, of course. And you can see it's got a built-in sort of cooling fan up the top here that's obviously going to be plugging into my receiver. I'm assuming, I'm pretty sure it will. And you've got the this motor mount, which was it's the same design that was on the Turnigy Trooper that I had. And the problem with that design is because the motor, the actual motor mount hugs the actual motor itself. What that means is that you're going to be very careful about buying aftermarket motors, and you're going to make sure that they actually fit as far as the diameter goes into that mounting plate, whatever it is, because of that specific diameter. So if you get one that's too big in diameter, it's not going to fit in there. You've got plenty of room for length. You can see here that there's no issue with length. It's just the diameter as well, which I believe is a 38 according to the box. I'll just double check that very quickly for you. 3674. So that would mean that it's only 36 millimeters in diameter by 74 millimeters in length. I believe that's how the sizes work. So you've also, in this truck, they also give us metal gears inside the center diff, front and rear as well, which is very cool. You've got real thick drive shafts on the front and rear, and underneath as well. You've got the same sort of thickness on your drive shafts in here. And as you can see, you've got aluminium bracing at the rear, in the middle, and as well as the front. And they've also got a little spring-loaded servo saver at the front there. You've got adjustable camber links front and rear, and you've got adjustable toe links at the front as well, if you want to play around with those. Front and rear sway bars are already pre-installed as well. Very cool. The A-arms are actually quite thick and quite beefy. Now I will say something very quickly about these A-arms. They look, sorry, I've got to put the truck down because it's, I've got to hit the gym a bit more often, I think. The A-arms look very similar to those that were on my Turnigy Trailblazer 1/5 or 1/6 scale. They're probably not as long, but if this is the same as what's on the 1/8 scale Trailblazer, the good news is that there'll be already spare parts available. You may share some bits and pieces here. A-arms being one. Just that they look very familiar to me. I haven't done my research. I'm just speculating, but they look very familiar to me. What else can I tell you? The steering servo. The steering servo they give us doesn't have any sort of branding on it, but it does say on the box that it's supposed to be a 15 kilogram steering servo. Now we all know that with stock steering servos, especially at this sort of price range for a truck this big, it's probably not going to be anything spectacular. So I'm probably going to be looking at changing out the steering servo in the near future if I find the steering's a little bit lazy. Because the truck does feel a bit heavy, and the wheels and tyres, as I showed you earlier, actually, they're a bit bigger than the rival. So I'm tipping that the steering servo might struggle a bit. Now, I'm going to point out a little bit of a flaw with these, with the body posts, and this is where it relates back to what we were talking about with the body sitting up a little bit high. The body posts, and I'll try and give you guys a bit of a closer look at this. If the camera would focus, please. Thank you. So you can see the body posts just here are quite thin this way, and then they're sort of thick that way. And I think the reason why they do this is to give them a fair bit of flex. So you can see here, there's actually quite a bit of flex on the body post, which is pretty cool. However, if you haven't noticed already, there's no adjustment in height. You've got these little washers up here to stop the body posts from poking through the body, but there's no height adjustment on these posts at all. So what that means is that if you guys are planning on buying aftermarket bodies, as I am planning to buy one, the body's going to sit where it's going to sit. There's no adjustment. Now, the only thing I can think of is if I can find myself some aftermarket posts from a different company altogether that would mount the same way that these ones mount on the shocks. So you can see there, if the camera would focus, God, it's so lazy focusing, isn't it? So you can see here, you just have 2 screws that sort of mount on the front. So if you guys know of any sort of body posts that mount like this that have a little bit of adjustment to them, put a little comment down below and let us know. I believe that I may be able to find some, but I just need to look at the right brand or the right place. I think, guys, that's pretty much everything that I need to tell you about this truck. The suspension feels pretty good, feels pretty plush. Probably needs slightly thicker oil in those shocks just to be able to handle a bit more of the bigger jumps that I'm going to be putting the truck through. But overall, you know, my first impressions of this truck, I'm going to say the body's not promising at all. The tyres look a little bit hard for my liking. They're huge, they look really good, but they just feel really hard, rather. The truck has a pretty high center of gravity, so it's very much true to the traditional monster truck design, as opposed to, you know, your low center of gravity type of truck like your MT4, for example. Some people would hate this type of design because it has a high center of gravity. It'll tend to tip over a bit more, especially when it's loaded with batteries. You know, if the chassis itself is above the actual mounting position of the tires, you're likely to tip this guy over on a hard turn. So some people wouldn't go for this, but you know, if you really want that true monster truck design, this is what they are. They have a kinked up sort of what do you call, skid plates underneath here, and the chassis sits up a little bit high to give you that extra ground clearance. I mean, I can almost stick my head under there, it's that high. I'm not going to try it, don't even ask. So this is the Nitro Circus Basher monster truck. It's a 1/8 scale and it's a big beast. And you can see the motor and ESC and everything else is mounted towards the front. I don't know how you guys feel about that. I think it's fine, but I'm putting it off to the side here because I want to show you guys something. I'm going to put the rival next to it and just give you a bit of a size comparison there. What do you guys think? Sits up a bit high, doesn't it? Certainly towers over the rival by a fair bit. I mean, the top of the rival here is sitting pretty much where the bonnet is on that Basher. But I'm really impressed with the shocks. I'm actually quite impressed with the shock towers as well. All the aluminium bracing seems to be in the right place. What sort of quality aluminium are we talking about? Is it going to hold up? Well, you know, that's where the testing comes in. That's where my driving comes in. If you guys want to see more of this truck, make sure you subscribe. The link would be somewhere. I don't know where Google or YouTube have put it these days. They've kind of stuffed everything up recently, so who knows what they're doing with the subscribe button. And by all means, please do hit the like button before you go. And before I forget, one last time, I'm going to say thank you to Jeremy Kid 99. Please go check out his channel. I will put a link for his channel in my description as well of this video, so you guys can go in there and click on it and go check him out. He's a really cool kid. He helped me out, and you know, we sort of chat on Facebook from time to time. He's awesome. He's got some really cool videos in there. As I said, I don't normally do shout outs or mention too many other channels, but when somebody helps me out a little bit, I like to let them know. So thanks again, and I'll speak to you guys next time.